This is the Martial Arts Business Academy. My name is John Hine and this is video blog 23. And it's called The Person Who Pays the Bills Makes the Rules. And that is you and me. It's our schools. We have to have a set of rules, a set of principles that govern our pricing structure. The one that's going to make us the most money, deliver the most benefit to the people who become our students. And it's really, really easy to fall into the trap when you've set a set of rules and they seem to be working really well about how you're going to price all your classes and all the special deals you may or may not have. That someone comes up to you and says, I'd really love to come and train with you, but I can't afford it. Can you make an exception for me? And the problem with this is, as I found out from hard experiences, the exception becomes the rule. Because if you make an allowance for one person, means you have to make an allowance for everyone. Because you could say, okay, I'll do a special deal for you, but you mustn't tell anybody. Guarantee they will. Absolutely guarantee that they will tell everybody. And then everybody will be clamouring for the same deal. So you simply can't do it. So once you've got your price structure set up, and it's working, and the majority of people are really happy, stick to it. People will quite often try and drive the best price they can, which is reasonable. But that doesn't mean that we have to be so soft that we allow them to do it. So if we're giving them a really good deal already, you're teaching them really good martial arts already, why should you relent? The only time you ever relent is when you've got your pricing structure wrong. And sometimes we do. Sometimes we charge too much, but quite often we charge too little. So once you set your principles up and it's working and you're not completely out of step with all the other martial arts around you, then stick to it. It doesn't matter whether someone comes and says, I can't afford to. Some people will never be able to afford to train with you, no matter what. No matter how kind, no matter how generous you are, they will never, ever be able to afford to train with you, no matter how low you go. And you can go so low, you should never compete on price, because if you compete on price, you will always get yourself in trouble. The very first book I ever read on how to become an entrepreneur, which is a long time ago now, was really old. It came from the 1950s. I went down to the local library and I got this book out, and it was a black and white cover with this old guy with a bald head who looked very, very worthy, and he'd written this book. I can't remember what it's called. Really sorry guys. If I could, I'll go out and buy it. It was the best book I've ever read. And this was written by an old guy who had been in business for a long time, and he was so smart. The techniques and the skills he taught you were amazing. And he said, never compete on price, because it's then a race to the bottom. You know, you undercut the guy next door, then the guy next door undercuts you, and then eventually you're just not making enough money to actually stay in business. So instead of competing on price, what you should do is offer service. So the more you can offer, that doesn't take you too much time to do, that is better than dropping your prices quite often. So never compete on price. So make your rules. Say what the price is. Make sure your structure works. Once it's working, stick to it. Don't let anybody change you. And sometimes it's happened to me. People have come to me and said, you're not charging enough. Do you know that? Because what you're teaching is so great. And it's probably the same for you. So always keep your pricing structure under review. You make the rules, no one else. Don't let anybody guilt trip you. You're the person who the buck stops with, you and me. So create your structure, make sure it's working, always be open, be flexible to change, upwards as well as downwards. Although downwards tends to be a bit more dangerous when you start competing on price. So if everything's working, you're doing okay, stick to the rules, stick to the principles. You might feel bad about saying no to somebody, but if it's working already, Don't try and fix what ain't broke. Okay, you have a great week. This is comes straight from the heart because I've made so many mistakes in the past. And people can have you bending, twisting to just get up one more or two more students in. Don't do it. If it's all working, don't try and fix it. You stick to your guns. And this is John signing out. Have a great week.